Welcome back to the Hydrogen Studies podcast. In today's episode, we're exploring the intersection of molecular hydrogen and women's health. From fertility and pregnancy to bone density, mood, metabolism, and beyond, hydrogen is showing up in some surprising places. In fact, it may be one of the most promising natural tools for supporting women at every stage of life. That's a lot of ground to cover here, so let's dive in. This is the Hydrogen Studies podcast, sponsored by Echo Water. Let's start with the root issue, oxidative stress. Women face unique biological stressors throughout life. Hormonal fluctuations during puberty, pregnancy, perimenopause, and menopause all contribute to chronic low-grade inflammation. These transitions are natural, but they come with a biochemical cost. Estrogen, for example, has antioxidant properties. So when estrogen drops, as it does post-menopause, oxidative damage increases. A landmark 2025 meta-analysis published in the British Journal of Nutrition reviews dozens of studies examining dietary antioxidant intake in women's health. The conclusion was clear. Diets rich in antioxidant capacity were consistently linked to better cardiovascular function, metabolic balance, and reproductive health. And women with higher total antioxidant intake had lower levels of oxidative stress markers like C-reactive protein and improved profiles for conditions like PCOS, insulin resistance, and heart disease. But here's the challenge. Most of us don't get enough antioxidant support from diet alone. Modern diets are often low in polyphenols, vitamin C and E, and other natural free radical scavengers. Even when we supplement, synthetic antioxidants can backfire. Many are non-selective. They block not only the damaging radicals, but also the signaling molecules your cells actually need to function. This is where molecular hydrogen stands out. Hydrogen doesn't behave like typical antioxidants. It's selective. It specifically neutralizes the most toxic free radicals like hydroxyl radicals and peroxynitrite, while leaving beneficial species like nitric oxide untouched. And that matters because reactive oxygen species, or ROS, aren't always bad. Some, like superoxide and hydrogen peroxide, help regulate immune response, hormone signaling, and cell repair. Blunt force antioxidants disrupt that, and hydrogen doesn't. Its unique properties don't stop there. Hydrogen is the smallest molecule in the universe. It easily crosses cell membranes, slips into mitochondria, the energy centers of your cells, and starts working within minutes. And in nearly every study published, it's shown a strong safety profile with no known side effects. What we're talking about is a subtle but powerful shift. Instead of trying to shut down oxidative stress completely, hydrogen helps your body manage it, preserving what's useful and neutralizing what's harmful. And this makes it an ideal candidate for women's health, where resilience, not suppression, is the goal. Let's talk about pregnancy. Not just the glow and the cravings, but the biology. Because behind the scenes, pregnancy is one of the most oxidative, inflammatory states a human body can endure. That's not always a bad thing. Oxidative stress plays a role in normal implantation, vascular remodeling, and immune signaling. But when that stress spirals out of control, it can disrupt the very foundation of pregnancy, the placenta. And that's where complications like preeclampsia, fetal growth restriction, and even long-term neurodevelopmental issues begin. Hydrogen may offer a new layer of protection. In a study published in Medical Gas Research, researchers exposed pregnant rats to water restriction, a model of placental stress. The result was mitochondrial damage and structural abnormalities in the placenta. But when those rats drank hydrogen-rich water, the damage reversed. Mitochondrial function improved, placental weight normalized, and the markers of oxidative damage like MDA dropped, while protective enzymes like SOD rose. Another study in Life Sciences found that hydrogen not only protected placental tissue, it improved maternal immune balance. Researchers showed that hydrogen enhanced T-cell regulation and boosted mitochondrial function in maternal tissue. Two systems essential for preventing preeclampsia and maintaining a healthy pregnancy. The benefits go beyond the womb. In a powerful maternal immune activation model where inflammation during pregnancy leads to autism-like behaviors in offspring, hydrogen gas inhalation significantly improved social interaction and cognitive performance in those pups. The researchers concluded that hydrogen had modulated neuroinflammation in utero, likely by suppressing activated microglia, the brain's inflammatory cells. Another group used a model of ischemia reperfusion injury, where blood flow is temporarily cut off to the uterus, mimicking uterine trauma. Hydrogen gas administered to the mother protected the fetal hippocampus, preserving cell structure and reducing neuron loss. Even in a rat model of preeclampsia caused by reduced uterine perfusion, hydrogen helped stabilize blood pressure, protect fetal weight, and suppress key inflammatory pathways like TNF-A and IL-6. And perhaps most striking, hydrogen inhibited apoptosis in trophoblast cells, the building blocks of the placenta, in a study on hypertensive disorders of pregnancy. It worked by reducing oxidative stress and modulating P38-MAPK, a stress-activated signaling pathway deeply involved in preeclampsia pathology. Taken together, these findings suggest that hydrogen isn't just helping the mother, it's creating a more stable, less inflamed, and better oxygenated environment for the developing fetus. That's critical not only for survival, but for long-term cognitive health. Hydrogen in these studies acted as both a protector and modulator, supporting the placenta, calming the immune system, restoring mitochondrial function, and guarding the fetal brain from damage. It doesn't replace medical care, but in every model tested so far, hydrogen moved the needle in the right direction with no adverse effects. After menopause, everything changes, especially when it comes to bone. As estrogen levels decline, inflammation rises, oxidative stress builds, and bone resorption speeds up. The result is well known: accelerated loss of bone mineral density, or what we call osteopenia, and eventually osteoporosis. It's not just a matter of weak bones, it's a serious public health risk. For postmenopausal women, a simple fall can mean a hip fracture, loss of mobility, or even life-threatening complications. But here's where hydrogen enters the conversation, with evidence that it may both prevent bone loss and accelerate bone repair. In a 2019 study published in Menopause, researchers showed that inhaled hydrogen gas protected against ovarectomy-induced osteoporosis in rats, a well-established model of postmenopausal bone loss. How? By suppressing NF-κB, a powerful inflammatory pathway that promotes bone breakdown. Rats treated with hydrogen had significantly better bone microarchitecture and higher bone volume compared to controls. Earlier, a 2013 study in the British Journal of Pharmacology reported that drinking hydrogen-rich water prevented osteopenia in ovarectomized rats. The treated group had denser bones, better trabecular structure, and fewer signs of oxidative stress in bone tissue. Researchers noted reduced levels of malondialdehyde, or MDA, a marker of oxidative damage, and higher levels of protective enzymes like superoxide dismutase, SOD. This suggests that hydrogen is doing more than reducing inflammation. It's supporting the bone remodeling process at the cellular level, balancing the activity of osteoclasts, which break down the bone, and osteoblasts, which build it back up. But the benefits aren't just preventative. In 2022, a study published in the Frontiers in Endocrinology looked at what happened after fracture. In ovary-optimized rats with broken tibias, hydrogen-rich saline was given during healing, and the result? Faster bone regeneration, improved callus formation, and reduced autophagy in bone tissue, a process that, when excessive, can slow down healing. The study concluded that hydrogen helps optimize the bone repair environment by minimizing unnecessary cellular stress responses. Put simply, hydrogen appears to support women's skeletal health in two ways. First, by preserving bone density during the hormonal chaos of menopause, and second, by accelerating recovery when fractures do occur. It works by targeting root causes: oxidative stress, inflammation, and cellular dysfunction, not just masking the symptoms. And so far, all of this has been done with a safety profile that's hard to ignore. No toxicity, no hormone disruption, and no interference with other pathways. For women over 40, that's not just interesting, it's a potentially game-changing addition to the toolkit for aging well. When we talk about fertility, we're talking about a woman's ovarian reserve, her lifetime supply of eggs, and the complex hormonal network that supports them. And that system, it's surprisingly vulnerable. Chemotherapy, autoimmune disease, surgical trauma, even temporary ischemia, loss of blood flow can damage ovarian tissue, reduce follicle count, and throw hormone levels into disarray. For women trying to conceive or simply preserve their reproductive future, this is a critical issue. That's why recent research into molecular hydrogen has drawn serious attention. In one study published in Experimental and Therapeutic Medicine, rats received a chemotherapy drug known to cause ovarian injury. Those that were also treated with hydrogen-rich saline had markedly less damage to ovarian follicles. The therapy reduced oxidative stress markers and preserved the histological structure of the ovary, meaning less tissue death and better integrity of the ovarian environment. Another study in the Journal of Pediatric Surgery looked at ovarian ischemia-reperfusion injury, a condition that can happen when blood flow to the ovary is cut off during surgery or torsion, then suddenly restored. The result is often a surge of oxidative stress and cellular death. But in rats treated with hydrogen-rich saline, researchers observed significantly lower levels of apoptosis and inflammation. The hydrogen solution protected both the surface and deeper structures of the ovary. And then there's premature ovarian failure, when the ovaries shut down too early, often due to autoimmune attacks or genetic triggers. A recent study published in Peer J used hydrogen-rich water in a rat model of immune-induced premature ovarian failure. In this model, immune activation attacks ovarian tissue, mimicking the damage seen in autoimmune infertility. The result? Hydrogen therapy helped restore estradiol levels, increased follicle count, and significantly reduced inflammatory markers in the ovary. Notably, it also targeted and regulated MHC class II molecules, RT1DB1 and RT1BB, which are involved in immune signaling and may also play a role in autoimmune ovarian destruction. Another mouse model using zona pellucida 3, an ovarian protein that triggers an autoimmune response, showed that hydrogen-rich water preserved ovarian reserve function, improved hormone balance, and prevented early follicle depletion. Across all these studies, the mechanism is clear. Hydrogen reduces oxidative stress, calms the immune system, and protects the structural integrity of ovarian tissue. This isn't just about fertility in the narrow sense. It's about preserving hormonal balance, protecting the endocrine system, and keeping options open for conception, for hormone regulation, and for long-term gynecological health. And for women navigating cancer treatments, autoimmune disorders, or surgical risks, that kind of protection is potentially life-changing. Let's be clear, hydrogen is not a cancer cure, but its role as a supportive therapy, especially in reducing oxidative stress, protecting healthy tissues, and potentially enhancing the body's resilience during treatment, is gaining ground in cancer research, particularly in breast and ovarian cancers. In 2018, a study published in Evidence-Based Complementary and Alternative Medicine investigated the effects of electrochemically reduced water, a form of hydrogen-rich water, on breast cancer. The results were compelling. In mice, tumor growth was significantly delayed, and in vitro, breast cancer cells exposed to hydrogen-rich conditions showed reduced survival. The proposed mechanism? Hydrogen's ability to suppress oxidative stress and downregulate pro-survival signaling in tumor cells, while sparing healthy cells from collateral damage. While this is preclinical data, it sets the stage for exploring hydrogen as a gentle adjunct, one that can work alongside traditional therapies, not against them. Another study, published in the Breast Journal, took a more clinical approach. Researchers examined the effect of hydration during radiation therapy for breast cancer patients. Women who maintained better hydration, including some who consumed hydrogen-infused water, experienced significantly less skin toxicity. That's a big deal because radiation-induced dermatitis can severely limit treatment tolerability and quality of life. Hydrogen's ability to act as a non-disruptive antioxidant buffer may help reduce some of these unwanted side effects. Ovarian cancer is where things get particularly interesting. In a 2020 study published in ACS, Biomaterials Science and Engineering, researchers explored biodegradable magnesium-based implants that slowly release molecular hydrogen as they degrade. In animal models of ovarian cancer, these hydrogen-producing implants suppressed tumor growth and significantly reduced inflammatory markers within the tumor microenvironment. The anti-tumor effect appeared to be driven by hydrogen's ability to modulate oxidative stress pathways and interfere with inflammatory cytokine signaling, two systems that are often hijacked by cancer cells to accelerate their own survival and proliferation. Beyond that, other preclinical work referenced in reviews suggests that hydrogen may help reduce mitochondrial dysfunction and cellular exhaustion in immune cells, allowing the body to mount a more sustained anti-tumor response when combined with chemotherapy or radiation. And that takeaway is hydrogen isn't replacing chemotherapy or targeted drugs, but it's showing real promise as a protective, non-toxic add-on that can enhance quality of life, protect healthy tissues, and potentially make standard therapies more tolerable. And in cancers where inflammation and oxidative stress play a major role, as they do in both breast and ovarian cancer, that support could matter deeply. Not every health challenge shows up as a disease. Sometimes it's brain fog, sluggish metabolism, stubborn weight gain, hormonal skin changes. These aren't just annoyances. They're signs your system might be struggling to keep up with stress, aging, or inflammation. So what if you're not managing a chronic illness, but you do want to feel sharper, lighter, or more balanced? Let's start with metabolism. In a 2018 clinical trial published in the Irish Journal of Medical Science, researchers studied middle aged, overweight women who drank hydrogen rich water for 28 days. The outcomes were impressive. Participants experienced improved body composition, meaning less fat mass and enhanced mitochondrial function. Markers of metabolic health, including cholesterol and glucose levels, also shifted in a favorable direction. The authors concluded that molecular hydrogen appeared to support energy regulation at a cellular level, making it a promising tool for managing metabolic slowdown in aging women. But metabolism doesn't function in isolation. It's tied to how we feel, think, and age. And hydrogen appears to support those systems too. In a small 2020 pilot study, researchers examined the effects of short-term hydrogen gas inhalation on cognitive performance in older women. The study showed that just 4 weeks of daily hydrogen inhalation led to measurable improvements in memory and attention. Participants performed better on standardized cognitive tests, suggesting that hydrogen helped counteract age-related mental decline, even in a short-term time frame. Animal studies reinforce this. In models simulating low estrogen conditions, such as postmenopause, hydrogen-rich water improved memory and protected neurons by regulating key brain plasticity proteins like BDNF and TRKB. These proteins are essential for learning and cognitive resilience, especially in women whose brains are sensitive to estrogen fluctuations. And what about skin? One of the first places hormonal changes show up. A 2021 clinical study published in Healthcare, Basel, focused on adult women with acne vulgaris, a condition increasingly common beyond adolescence. Changes in hormones, especially in adulthood, can cause the skin to make more oil, which can clog pores and lead to acne. Participants received a series of facial treatments using hydrogen purification, a process that saturates the skin with molecular hydrogen. The results? Noticeable reductions in oil production, inflammation, and acne severity. Hydrogen also improved hydration and balanced skin pH without any adverse reactions. This non-invasive antioxidant-driven treatment showed that hydrogen isn't just a cellular therapy, it's a visible one. Taken together, these studies show a clear theme. Hydrogen isn't just useful in extreme health conditions. It's a gentle, daily support molecule that may help women maintain metabolic flexibility, mental sharpness, and skin clarity, especially during periods of hormonal flux. It's not flashy, doesn't come with side effects, but that's exactly what makes it compelling. Whether you're entering menopause, recovering from burnout, or simply aiming for stronger daily energy and glow, hydrogen could be a subtle science-backed way to nudge your body back toward balance. By now, the results speak for themselves, but what's actually happening under the hood when molecular hydrogen goes to work? At its core, hydrogen functions less like a blunt tool and more like a precision instrument. Unlike traditional antioxidants, which neutralize everything in their path, including the signaling molecules your body needs, hydrogen is selective. It targets only the most damaging reactive oxygen species like hydroxyl radicals and peroxynitrite, without touching beneficial molecules like nitric oxide and hydrogen peroxide, which are crucial for immune response and cellular communication. This selectivity is one reason why hydrogen doesn't appear to cause side effects or redox imbalances the way synthetic antioxidants sometimes do. Mechanistically, one of hydrogen's most powerful effects is its ability to activate the NRF2 pathway, a master regulator of antioxidant defense. When NRF2 is activated, it triggers the production of a range of cytoprotective enzymes like superoxide dismutase, catalase, and glutathione peroxidase. These enzymes don't just mop up free radicals, they repair cellular damage and fortify tissues against future oxidative insults. At the same time, hydrogen suppresses the NF-κB pathway, a central driver of inflammation. This matters for women at every life stage, from PCOS and endometriosis to menopause and autoimmune disorders. In multiple studies, including models of osteoporosis, ovarian failure, and preeclampsia, hydrogen was shown to reduce levels of inflammatory cytokines like TNF-A, IL-1B, and IL-6 by inhibiting NF-κB activation. But the benefits go deeper, down to the mitochondria. These tiny energy factories are especially sensitive to oxidative stress, and when they falter, everything from hormone production to brain function suffers. In pregnancy models, hydrogen improved mitochondrial structure and function in the placenta. In premature ovarian failure, it supported mitochondrial integrity in oocytes and granulosa cells, preserving fertility potential. And in the brain, hydrogen protected neurons and enhanced expression of BDNF and TRKB, two estrogen-sensitive proteins involved in memory, neuroplasticity, and resilience to stress. In essence, hydrogen stabilizes the system, balancing oxidation, calming inflammation, supporting cell metabolism, and modulating hormone-related signaling. It operates across the same pathways that affect estrogen, aging, fertility, mood, and even metabolic health. And that's why it stands out. This isn't a single action compound, it's a multi-system intervention, capable of tuning core biological processes that are constantly shifting in women's bodies. From mitochondria, to immune cells, to ovarian follicles, to neurons, hydrogen's effect is both subtle and widespread. It's not just how it works, it's where it works, and the fact that it doesn't push too hard in any one direction. That's the kind of adaptability women's health needs. Because hormone cycles, aging, and stress don't follow simple rules, and neither should their interventions. Whether you're trying to support a healthy pregnancy, protect your brain in menopause, preserve your fertility, or just boost your skin and energy, molecular hydrogen is a tool worth knowing. It's safe, it's selective, and the research is catching up fast. Thanks for joining us today. Stay curious, stay healthy, and we'll catch you next time.